Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainboots.com, and today I'm going to restore and refurbish a garden gnome. He's super cute, he's super vintage, and if you'd like to make him, boop, stick around. As always, please give this video a like so I know you're here crafting, and it also helps with that silly little algorithm. So you can see there's so much detail in this cute little guy, but he looked rough when I first started. This was a refurbish for a friend. I'm using a protective mask, 120 grit sandpaper, and I have already cleaned mine, which means I used soap and water and actually cleaned it. You can also use a wire brush to get any extra paint off. So I'm going to use this sandpaper everywhere. I even use it along the very bottom. So mine is the one that I'm working with here is hollow, and it's everywhere. We want to go over this guy because you can see it starting to come off, and we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves, protecting our workplace, because you'll see at the end this looks pretty rough. But it was really easy to do. It took me about 10 minutes to sand it. So not too long, but look at my hands. They're really gross. All right, so once this guy is done, he's almost done, I'm actually going to be cleaning him off with a damp towel just to make sure I get all of that grit off, any chunks of paint which might have shown up. I'm gonna write gnome, now I have to clean that up. This is what I do. I shouldn't be left alone, look at that. All right, so I'm gonna clean that up. And now I'm going to get started with painting. So one quick note, if you are restoring a garden gnome, you're wanting to use outdoor paint. So this is on Amazon. It's from Arteza. It's super easy to use. Go ahead and paint everything white. Everything. Everything you're going to paint, everything that is visible, go ahead and paint it white. Even if you're going to use a beige or a cream, it does not matter, paint it white. I mean, did you get that? The reason we're painting it white is because your colors are going to be truer and it's going to pop a little bit more with less paint if you have a base of white that you are working with. So I'm just going to paint this whole entire thing white, and then, you know, I'm going to paint a second coat. So if you're not lazy or impatient like me, you don't have to use a heat gun, but I used a heat gun, dried it, and then applied my second coat. And then, don't come for me, but I actually applied a third coat on the beard, on like the hair. There's like these little hair and little eyebrows, the beard, the hands, because I'm painting those lighter colors. So my beard is going to be white, my hands and face are going to be beige. So I just wanted to make sure that was as bright as I could get it. So this part was really fun. If you've been around here, you know that I like to listen to Audible books when I'm not doing hard or anything that requires measurements, you know, any pattern making or anything. I like to just pop on an Audible book and just listen and just kind of fade away a little bit while I do this. It's really relaxing. And so you can see here, I'm using a very small paintbrush for this first coat. It's not going to be enough. You can see all these splotches and big empty spaces. But the reason I'm using this small brush is because there's a lot of detail here and I don't want to have to do a lot of cleanup, especially with something so dark. When you are painting your gnome, give it a look-see and pay attention to any details. You'll see that I mess up. I paint right over a whole detail section in the front, and I'm gonna have to fix it in a second. All right, so 2 coats on, and now for the third coat, I'm just filling in anything that's a little bit lighter or that my fingers touched. For the pants, I'm using a variation on the blue, changing angles here so you can see it a little better. I sped this up, but honestly, the actual hands-on time was about an hour. That's it. So it's not a terribly long craft, and you can even do it outside if you're not in 100-degree heat where everything's gonna dry too quickly. But I'm using this small paintbrush here again because I have a lot of detailed areas. And once I get that first coat on, it's going to be just like the other. I'm going to hit it with a heat gun and do a full second coat on this bottom section. So I am carrying the color all the way to the underside as well, and we'll be sealing that as well. All right, so here's where I just realized I painted right over some detail, so I'm going to have to hit that up in just a second. I've sort of this brick red. You can blend color colors if you want whatever you need. Those would look cute as black too. Just for my shoes, again, a small detail brush on this guy because there is a lot of stuff that I would have to redo, and I'm lazy and I don't like to redo it. So it took a little bit more time to paint it with a small brush, but second coat, really, really easy because you're just filling everything in. All right, so once that is done, I paint the belt, and then I realize these details, whoopsie. So I put the details on, grab a really large brush, and paint the majority of the hat. Even though this is you can see all the detail on the back, even though it's a really simple hat, it's got a lot of fun folds, and it gives a lot of good detail when you put a fresh coat of paint on it. I switched to the smaller brush. You can see I'm making some mistakes I'll have to clean up later. But when a girl gets into her Audible book, when those stories get going, I sort of stop paying attention all the time. All right, so I'm just going to use that for the bottom side of that hat, trying not to get it onto my little hair, but I do, so I'm going to have to do a little touch up there. That little curl of hair underneath the hat is just too cute, isn't it? All right, so I'm just going to finish up this detail here, and then I'm going to mess up right here. Oh, I remember when I did that. Just messing it up. But that's okay. We'll fix that. Doesn't look like that now. All right. So again, hit it with a heat gun and give it a second coat. This is a really vibrant red. These colors in the Arteza kit are really great, and you can blend them. So this is a beige. It took 2 coats of this, and then I did a separate little blend on the cheeks. So that would be 3 coats on the cheeks. But you can see it's barely any color yet on the face and the hands. But once you get that second coat on, watch this transformation. Well, first watch the heat dry and then the transformation. I just love it. I think that it's really cute. It's like a beigey pink color. It's fun. Put a little color in those cheeks and on the lips. Isn't he cute? He's coming together. So I'm using a different color blend to create this bag. I didn't want to use brown or black. I just thought those were pretty harsh colors for this. So, but hey, this is not about what I'm doing. You can do this any way you want. I'm using a little tiny clay tool. You can use a tiny toothbrush or a toothpick to really make sure I get all of the eye white and had no beige bleed over. And so I just used that same toothpick or pick to paint in a little eye, but they were a little creepy. So I got a toothpick and made them a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to use that stick to drop in a little bit of reflections into the eye that no one could possibly see from a distance, but to me it mattered. So there's that. Once everything was dry, I gave it not 1 but 2, even you can do 3 coats, light coats of a clear sealant. I'll put the link to the one I love and use below. And you know what? That's it. It's time to display it. This is super cute. If you find one at a vintage store or you find one at a yard sale, grab one. What do you think of this craft? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe for more crafty fun.